Today I'm at Ulster Wildlife, where I want to talk to you about the pine marten as part of National Mammal Week. National Mammal Week is an initiative by the Mammal Society to help bring awareness to the state of mammals within the UK. And this year the theme is especially important because it's about where wildlife should be but isn't currently. And for pine martens, that's quite a timely topic because they should be all across the UK, but currently they're only holding on in a few different reserved spots across the countries. Ulster Wildlife have been a really big help throughout my project, and they do a lot of work throughout Northern Ireland to help raise awareness about pine martens and monitor what they're up to. I'm joined today by Martha the pine marten, who's going to help me out with telling you some of the identifying features to see if you've managed to spot a pine marten in the wild. Over the past few years, I've been doing research towards my PhD, and as part of that research, I've been studying how pine martens respond to sound, so I've needed to get really good at identifying a pine marten on video. As part of this research, I've got lots and lots of videos of them responding to sound, but I've also got lots of videos of them just going about their natural habitats and going about with their normal behaviours. So I wanted to share some of those videos today to shed a bit of light onto what pine martens get up to. They're quite an elusive species, so it's rare to spot one, and if you do, they probably won't hang around for very long. So it's quite interesting to be able to get a glimpse at their life without any humans around and see what they get up to. Pine martens are part of the mustelid family, which means that they're related to other native UK species, like stoats, weasels, polecats and otters. But they have got some identifying features that help them be told apart from those species. So for example, they're about the size of a small cat, which makes them bigger than stoats and weasels, but smaller than something like an otter. Their body is covered in this dark brown fur, which gets a little bit darker towards the points of their paws on both the front and back legs, as well as sometimes a bit darker around the face. They have got these cream markings around the ears on both sides, but they haven't got any coloured markings on their face. They've also got this unique cream bib that's going on here, and sometimes you can see extra bits of spotting and it goes down a little further. This doesn't extend all the way down the underside of the body though, it tends to stop at the chest. This bib is really special because it's as unique to a pine marten as our fingerprints are to us. This means that if you can see the bib, you can tell the pine marten apart from other individuals. And this is how I've identified individuals in the videos that I'm going to show you in a moment, and how I can tell what those behaviours are, whether they're specific to those individuals, and if they can change over different periods of time. The pine marten is also an arboreal species, which means you're most likely to see them up on the tree branches, although they can sometimes hunt down on the ground. They're also very elusive. They don't tend to like being spotted, and you're more likely to see them if you're up at dawn or dusk, because they have a crepuscular activity pattern, rather than being nocturnal, which is purely active at night, or diurnal like us, which is purely active during the day. Another feature of the pine marten is their really long, fluffy tail. So this can help you tell them apart from something like an otter, which has the more slender, pointed tail. I've caught quite a few pine martens on camera during my PhD, but I want to focus in on the story of just a few of them. In the middle of summer, a mother pine marten is enjoying some food while keeping a close eye on her kit. She's on alert for anything that might cause them harm, and with her actions, she's teaching the kit when she should or shouldn't run from something. They can use the safety of trees to escape from larger predators like foxes. But while her kit stays in the safety of the trees, she must sometimes venture down to catch larger prey like rabbits, which can help sustain both of them. Pine martens are usually solitary, only coming together for the mating season or to raise kits. Their diet usually consists only of what they as an individual need, such as nuts, berries and small rodents. But that doesn't stop them from attempting to go after other prey, like magpies, or even bats. But sometimes it's easier to not waste the effort of hunting a mouse that's right next to you when there's stationary nuts in front of you. In early summer, the adult pine martens start to communicate with each other. They will sniff at scent marks others have left, like this male following the path of a female from a few minutes ago, before he gets distracted by the food. They will scent mark around each other, like this male on the right, who is showing interest in the feasting female while her kit plays nearby. Pine martens aren't monogamous, and both males and females will often seek out multiple other partners during the mating season. Typically, the females are considered to be more standoffish, with the males seeking them out, and the females nipping and growling to get them away. But eventually the female accepts him, and in this case she even seemed a bit more interested in him than he was in her. Early on in the mating season, she frequently scent marked, which can be a signal of territory claim but can also be a signal of readiness to mate. He would also mark over those spots. Then she began showing more obvious signs of interest, following him around and rubbing her scent along the bark. His interest at that time seemed more focused on the feeder than on her. So she got a bit more obvious in her interest, climbing all over him until he had had enough and snapped at her to get away. But it didn't deter her, and she kept coming back to him. By this point it was midsummer and her kit was independent enough to spend time alone on her territory. And eventually her persistence paid off, with him willing to forego food to engage in a form of courtship playing with her. Then, a few minutes later, it was her turn to ignore him. As he batted at her tail to try and get her attention, she enjoyed some more of the food. Assuming this mating season was successful, the female will delay the start of her pregnancy until early next year, at which point she will kick her current kit off of her territory if it's still lurking around, so she'll be ready to focus all of her attention on her new kits next spring. For now though, her kit is still present, and very curious about the male. He doesn't seem as enthused about its presence. But in this strange in-between time, where the female is both looking after her kit and seeking to mate with the male, the three of them are able to coexist and interact with each other with minimal bickering. As the kit starts to grow older, it will start testing boundaries, learning to be independent. Perhaps most importantly, it will need to learn how to hunt for itself. This trapped mouse provides a good opportunity. It grabs the mouse and manages to make the kill, but doesn't quite seem to know what to do afterwards. It leaves its kill and goes back to the feeder. With its mother still around and a few more months until it needs to leave for its own territory, it has plenty of time to figure out what to do. Pine martens aren't just interesting by themselves though. There's a lot of research currently going into looking at how pine martens interact with other species within the ecosystem to see how they help or hinder them. A quarter of UK mammals are under threat of extinction, so understanding their interactions with other species is really important in understanding how to conserve them. One species that we're interested in is the red squirrel. This red squirrel is the only native squirrel species to the UK and Ireland, but you've probably not seen much of them unless you live in one of their few remaining hotspots. The grey squirrel is a visitor from North America that's become invasive here and is spread out now throughout the UK. It's bigger than the red squirrel, and it also spreads a lot of damage to our trees and spreads the squirrel pox virus, which is really damaging to our red squirrel populations. We've been looking into the pine marten and how its recovery could potentially be affecting the red squirrel, partially because the pine marten is an omnivore, which means it doesn't just eat nuts and berries, but it also eats smaller rodents and things like squirrels sometimes. One really interesting thing that's slowly starting to emerge over the trends of the last couple of years is that wherever pine martens are starting to recolonise, grey squirrels are starting to disappear from. Whether that's because they don't recognise the pine martens as a predator, so they get eaten more, or because they're bigger and slower, so they can't escape them more, or perhaps some other reason that we're not sure of. What we can say is that the grey pine martens seem to be having a negative effect on grey squirrels. And where there's a negative effect on grey squirrels, red squirrels are able to move in. There's no longer the threat of disease, and there's no longer the other squirrel species outcompeting them. So in actuality, it seems like recovering our pine marten populations is also helping recover our red squirrel populations. So these two species are really great working in dynamics together to help restore our native mammal ecosystem. If you want to know how you can help our animals like Martha the pine marten, then I've left some links below for you to check out. There's usually a local wildlife trust in your area, and if they're doing work with pine martens, they're more than happy to have you help out as a volunteer. Different citizen science days will do things like going out looking for traces of the animals, so things like tracks and fecal matter, or if you've actually seen one of these animals, you can submit it to different sightings databases so that we can keep a track on where they're moving to and see how that could be affecting other wildlife around them. Thanks for watching, and make sure that you go and check out some of my other videos where I discuss more of our native mammal species.